Welcome to the first episode of our Buffy the Vampire Slayer podcast. I'm Gabby.
I'm Devin.
And I'm Anna Maria.
Hi.
Slay, slay, slay,
slay,
slay,
slay,
slay, slay, slay.
You know what they slay? We love Buffy.
You know what they slay. I'm sorry, girl, but you can never have it. Pull up in a black truck, it's vamped out. I just walked up in this bitch, they cameras out. Yeah, don't come.
All right, so we're going to start out with Buffy Season 1, Episode 1. We see Buffy go to her first day at Sunnydale High. She meets Giles, Xander, Willow, and Cordelia in this episode and is sort of established in her new life as the Secret Slayer.
It's hugely important. Sets the stage for the whole show.
It does.
Also, what I like about this episode is that it not only sets the stage for the whole show in that it's the beginning of the whole show, but I really think that after having watched the whole show, it embodies the entirety of these characters so well that after I know these characters so well, I'm like, oh, the way that they were introduced is how they actually are. They change only in growth as they like actually develop. And rewatching it, I just like, it kind of solidifies the geniusness of the show to me. Because I'm like, oh, Xander is acting how Xander acts. Cordelia is Cordelia. And like they wrap it up beautifully to open it up. Mm-hmm. The first item in my notes that I have is the lore, ! Because this episode is introduced with the introduction being a narrated reading of the vampire book to introduce Buffy, and that is quickly lost after season 1. And it's honestly what made me immediately fall in love with the show was the vampire lore.
Yeah, I did not realize this was the intro to every episode of the first season. Mm-hmm. But I love it. It's just super sweet, like super quick Slayer montage explanation.
I know. I love when the show explains like the whole thing first.
Yeah. I also had a comment on the vampire lore that relates to our lore as a podcast, which is I think that the pod must exclusively use VAMPYR as the spelling of vampire.
Vampire.
I think if we could even like integrate vampire.
I think to even say vampire.
Right.
I just like need all of our promo materials to spell vampire that way, please.
And it's also going to like really emphasize, it's really going to give us an opportunity to like flex our vocal fry. Mm-hmm. Because I can already feel that creeping up.
Vampire.
Also, I wanted to say that the theme song is really subdued, and I think it's kind of slay.
Yeah, I started to sing along and embarrassingly messed up because it changes a lot. Okay, so we can start kind of on the opening scene, which it opens up to what we know as Sunnydale because we've seen the whole show. But it is, you know, a classic high school hallway and classroom. You assume it's a science classroom. It's full of bones. It's very witchy.
Filled with bones.
It's filled with bones. I mean, I guess they're like only on the counter and they're like beautifully shaped into like actual animals. Mm-hmm. So like maybe some students were studying those during the day. I thought it was a beautiful foreshadowing into like witchy nature of the show. Mm-hmm. And immediately you see a young teen, we're presuming high school boy and high school girl.
And the girl is totally like a fake out Buffy. Like they're trying to make us think that that's Buffy, in my opinion.
Yeah, in rewatching, you said that, and I thought that was pretty smart. That, you know, she's blonde, she's hot. But she might as well be Buffy. She does really come off as vulnerable and innocent. But we soon find out that she's being led into the high school by a human, and she, in fact, is a vampire. Mm-hmm. Because we initially assume that the young man is like a bad boy, and he is bringing her in to like take her on like a cool date to like the high school where he's probably a bully.
I thought on first watch that he was going to be the vampire.
Absolutely.
He's leading her off to this isolated place to finish her off.
Yeah. But she was just playing with her food, as they say.
She was playing with her food. In my notes, I said this is such a classic date for an edgy bad boy, breaking into the school's science classroom and making out in the same hallway where you kick the rolly backpacks of the choir kids. It's like, you're such an asshole. Why do you think this is so fun?
Yeah, true. It's like, ooh, what's something fun and sexy we can do? Go to
school at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, school is sexy and fun, so that makes sense to me.
Yeah, so Joss Whedon is already showing that this is going to be like a slay feminist show because the girl is actually the vampire. So she's girl bossing as the vampire. And we do find out that the girl vampire's name is Darla. And I don't know if this is if this is an appropriate moment for me to share my lore.
I think it's appropriate.
Or if this is like even an okay thing for us to do in our podcast. Jump over to the Angel show.
I think just don't share prominent spoilers.
Oh, I think this maybe is a spoiler.
I think it's fine. Everyone's seen this show.
Okay. If you haven't seen the show by now,
Stop listening.
Watch the show.
Set a boundary.
Or don't even watch the show. Just listen to our podcast.
Give us a 5-star review.
I actually want to talk about this because I have something to say about it. So I would like you to describe who Darla is, please.
Okay, good. Okay, so Darla, upon our first watch of Buffy, we just assumed that she was a regular old vampire. Then in watching Angel, at least I'm the one who's gotten this far in Angel, we discovered that she is actually Angel's ex of 150 years.
And his sire.
And his sire. So she's actually been alive for 250 years. Sired Angel after 100 years of her vampire life. And then they kind of like fell in their little vampire love and ravaged towns and villages all over Europe together.
I was like, is it a plot hole that in this episode she acts kind of stupid? Like, yes. She can't fight Buffy. And I'm like, she's hella fucking powerful. But then I was like, maybe it's because they haven't had the big feast yet. And she's like hungry and depleted or something. Because the whole theme of the episode is like, we're about to feed.
Yeah. The harvest is coming. Yeah, I think that actually they probably came up with the plot line of having Darla be Angel's ex like way after this episode aired, because Angel was created after the episode aired. And so kind of cool to bring back this like one kind of unassuming initial character from the beginning and be like, actually she's got this like really deep backstory. And she's actually like, a really strong person.
She's kind of a
really
slay.
Strong vampire. So Buffy standing on her chest kind of in the first episode, kind of doming her future love's ex-lover was kind of really cool
potent,
to see.
Huh?
Yeah, it was actually very potent.
I also have a fun fact about the pilot.
Okay, go on.
Which is that there's an unaired pilot that Joss Whedon calls poor quality per Wikipedia. And there's a somewhat different cast. Like someone else plays Willow, and I think maybe someone else plays Angel. But we have to watch that.
We have to watch that.
Yeah.
It's available?
It's apparently widely torrented.
Perfect.
So we can do that.
Yeah, whatever tortures Joss Whedon, he probably definitely would not want us to watch that episode.
Yeah, he definitely thinks it's bad, and it probably is. Yeah, so this girl is in the hallway. She is with the boy. They are sort of getting like flirty, and then all of a sudden, of course, we see her turn around with vamp face.
Our first showing of vamp face.
Screen goes dark, and then we cut to Buffy having nightmares.
What do you guys think of vamp face? Do you think it's scary?
It's scary in a good way. It's kind of hot,
Yeah.
It's not too scary.
Yeah.
It's just right.
Yeah. Because you have to keep vampires hot.
Yeah, I was wondering if it had any sort of precedent in like vampire media, or if it's just like their weird fucking interpretation, because in my mind, vampires just look like people with teeth, with big old teeth.
I know.
People with teeth. Importantly, we see Joyce in the next sequence.
Okay, yeah.
Who I forgot about fully.
I was going to say.
I know, and her hair in this episode.
Her hair.
She looks way older than the future.
It's trash.
Joyce gets really hot later on. Which I think was a really brave choice from the show.
Yeah, it was shocking upon rewatch to see her transformation. I was going to transition us into the montage of Buffy asleep in her bed having nightmares about all things vampire. she's dreaming of everything spooky, vampires and cemeteries and lots of spooky music. I thought this was kind of a beautiful scene, actually, and some personal art inspiration for me in the future.
Mm-hmm.
I would kind of love to look like this show in its entirety.
I also fully forgot that she knows she's the Slayer already in episode 1. For some reason, I thought she discovered it throughout season 1, but it's just everyone else that discovers it.
Yeah, I'm really glad it has that set up from the movie, actually, because I think that'd be kind of a tedious plot exposition.
I just simply don't care.
Yeah, we can't have her going through that type of self-discovery. The interesting meat of it is seeing her and what she does with her discovery. And that's actually pretty cool because there is a lot of sci-fi stuff that's dealing with okay, the discovery of this big power that you have, but this is what happens after. If you want to see the discovery, maybe watch the movie. We haven't seen the movie.
We will be watching the movie.
We'll be watching the movie. So I think that after she has this nightmare montage, it's kind of this really quick. I loved this because it was a quick transition from the spooky darkness of the show and kind of foreshadowing the vampires into the quirky, poppy, amazing candy world that is girlhood and teenage life, because it's kind of a quick transition into her appearing on the steps of her high school. I said high school and bangs and rock music and your mom keep dropping you off at school.
Yeah, and I want to note that Buffy is in an iconic season 1 fit here.
Yes.
In her miniskirt and knee-high boots and little cardi. This fully inspired an era of my eBay shopping.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Yes.
Yeah, it shows.
Buffy dresses like you. It's not the other way around.
Also, I was noticing that Xander is way more douchebag coded. Obviously he's always a dipshit, but he skates into school and is excuse me, move out of the way. Sorry, guys. And then he also walks up to some other dude and is what? Do you see the new girl?
Yeah,
hottie.
Yeah.
That's funny because we were both noting that Xander was hot in this.
I know. I was
Toxic,
it's really speaking to my type personally.
Bad boys.
Bad boys with a collared shirt.
Bad boys with middle part.
Bad boys with middle parts.
And then Xander crashes into Willow. And Willow is so baby here. She's so
in her
cute.
church
She's a little
outfit.
bit in love.
And Willow's kind of doing my style.
Yeah.
She looks awesome. I mean, I love Willow's style throughout the whole show. And it only gets better from here.
Yeah. I think that Xander in this is a lovable doof. I think that they do that really well. And I was oh, damn. He's cute.
And speaking of Willow, Dev, at the beginning, you were talking about how Buffy is really consistent. Well, all the characters are really consistent. But I was noticing how consistent Buffy is in her motivations. Because at first, when she's with Cordelia, confronting Willow at the drinking fountain, because Cordelia has taken Buffy under her wing and is you passed the popularity test. Hang out with me and I'll take you in the right direction. And then Cordelia is talking shit to Willow. And Buffy is looking concerned and clearly knows there's injustice going on, but doesn't say anything, but we can really tell what she's thinking. And I was queen.
Hero already.
She's
a warrior for the people.
And
for the girls.
Yeah. The whole time she's doing her little justice-minded attitude.
And this is actually a really good point to bring up, that Buffy's history is a little bit more mean girl. Maybe not mean girl, but popular girl.
Yeah, she's from LA and knows a lot about hair.
And she's blonde.
She's sucking on a lollipop on the front steps of her high school.
Yeah,
she sure
that's
is.
what she's doing. So we know that Buffy kind of has this history of being the popular girl who knows about clothes and boys and stuff. And Cordelia sees that. But what Cordelia doesn't know is the nuance that Buffy has as a hero, because she understands the struggle.
The tortured backstory.
The torture.
Also, Buffy's social savvy is relevant later in the episode when she spots a vamp at the Bronze because his outfit is 10 years out of style.
Yes.
Yeah.
This comes before her vamp tingle. She has her fashion tingle.
Yeah.
Yet again, we see the juxtaposition of Buffy's like tortured monster fighting side and her like, I just want to be a normal girl side. And I absolutely love that. It's very relatable.
True. It's like the central tension of especially this season.
Because it's battling, you know, inner demons as a teen and also rejoicing in youth.
Power.
And power.
We also get the first mention of the Bronze here when Cordelia invites Buffy out tonight and then drops her off at the library.
Where we meet
Giles.
Okay.
Daddy Giles.
Who's actually admittedly kind of creepy.
I know. It's
He's
like
being such a queepo. He like touches her a lot.
it's almost setting it up as if they're going to have some sort of weird romance.
Yeah.
It's like you can't tell where it's going.
And he's hella sinister, like when he slaps the vampire book down.
yeah.
Yeah, he's immediately presenting her a vampire book unprompted and she runs away.
Also, okay, I wrote in really big font, can we get an explanation about the cage in the library? Like,
There is an explanation.
Okay.
It's like the books that they don't want the children to steal.
like valuable books.
Valuable
or
books. But
erotic material.
I was also thinking this, that like only Giles as the librarian is going to have a cage of books because only he is going to bring like banned books or whatever. And also one of the reasons Willow thinks he's so cool is that he has so many big books.
Big old.
He has those big books.
He's got a really big books.
The cage is really giving Joe from You, notably.
Oh no.
This is not that kind
Wait,
of
the
podcast.
crossover we need.
Okay, so we're in the library. They're meeting. Giles is really turning Buffy off because he's not really explaining anything or asking questions and acting kind of skeptical. And she's kind of freaked out by that, which is extremely understandable. And also in this scene, we are like introduced to Sunnydale as a troubled town because there's like a close-up shot of the newspaper that says 2 boys still missing, and it's circled, which I think also was kind of trying to make Giles seem like a weirdo.
It's kind of beautiful. It's like the first bit of research that's done in the library.
Gorge.
Wow.
A little
so
circling
true.
of a news clip. Yeah, we do get some really good background on Sunnydale being kind of this place that draws mystical and magical creatures of evil to its core. And when Giles is kind of giving this download to Buffy, she is fully rejecting it. She would rather throw away her Slayer responsibilities and yet again be a normal teenage girl. After she kind of storms out from Giles and her conversation, we see that Xander has been kind of sort of lurking in the wings in the library.
Oh, yeah.
So he
listening.
gets fully listening, fully eavesdropping. So he kind of gets this first initial look into the world of Buffy and her vampires.
So pretty instantly, her secret is revealed. And as we'll see throughout the rest of the episode, Xander and Willow are really there from like her first day on Sunnydale and immediately know all these secrets about her, which is pretty cool.
She's supposed to be keeping her Slayerhood a secret, as Giles says, and as she complains about. Yet throughout this episode, I think she reveals her identity to like 4 people, if not more.
Yeah.
So she's not very good at that. But that means she gets more friends in her little crew. So that's great.
Yeah, and then we cut outside to Buffy reintroducing herself to Willow and asking her to help her with schoolwork.
This scene was extremely gay.
Extremely gay.
And that's important to note. And then Xander pops in and Jesse.
Being extremely straight.
And I wrote Xander being honestly funny here.
Yeah, he was being charming.
He was being really charming. Buffy was looking at him like with this look of, oh, you are dumb and annoying.
He was being funny.
I would fall for that.
He called Sunnydale a 1 Starbucks type of town, which is so funny.
That's like a really important descriptor. And then Cordy comes over to announce the dead body in the locker.
Oh my god, we forgot to mention that. A dead body falls out of the locker onto this poor
Yeah,
girl.
and there's a really
Aura.
iconic quote that happens in that scene. The 2 girls who eventually will find the bodies in the locker, are like walking through the gym and they're gossiping about Buffy. And one of them is like, yeah, she seems weird. What kind of a name is Buffy? And then the other one like is walking past some dude who recognizes her and he goes, oh, nice to see you, Aphrodisia. Embarrassing. But yeah, they find a dead body and like we can presume that the rumor mill like has gotten it to Cordelia pretty fast.
Yeah, Buffy's immediately on it and finds out that the body has bite marks, goes to confront Giles about it.
Oh, wait, I want to say something about Buffy.
Yeah.
Finding or the body happening, the body moment.
Mm-hmm.
I said body falls out of a locker room, first real innocent death. Okay, so this is when we like know that the show is gonna get like a little bit dark. I feel like when we have like the first like young child die. Also, I think it's absolutely wild and bonkers how Buffy is just immediately on the crime scene.
Wait, is that not the same guy from the start?
Yes, that's the same guy from the start. So this is the one that Darla kills.
Yeah.
So Darla has killed him and stuffed him in the locker. But Buffy, the body, first of all, is still there. It's not removed hours after it's found. And Buffy kind of just waltzes in, lifts up the cover that's over the body and touches him. And this is kind of also, there's no like police in this show.
No.
Just kind of
Thank God.
Thank God. They're not like, you know,
I literally think the police don't even, well, I have no idea actually, but I don't remember the police ever being in Buffy.
Yeah.
We get like 3 encounters with the police, I believe. I can think of 3.
Oh, okay, amazing. Okay, well, at least they're very rarely in it. At least compared to Angel, where LAPD are like really in that show.
The damn FBI is in that show.
Damn FBI. So that's kind of cool, is that Buffy sort of exists in a world where she is the police. Mm-hmm. In a good way, I guess.
Okay, and also Giles in this episode is 100% right about the Hellmouth, which he just presents as a theory. Like, he doesn't know it yet, but he's talking to Buffy about how he believes that Sunnydale is, like, over an epicenter of demonic activity, which is just fully correct. So, King, shout out to Giles for being right immediately.
Yeah, also when she goes to confront Giles about this body and they start talking about how she doesn't care about vampires, she doesn't want to do slaying here, and he starts to explain slayers in the Hellmouth. This is actually when Xander's listening in.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I messed it up. Because we went back to the body. Okay, yeah. So Giles and Buffy's conversation happens after.
They have a more candid conversation after the body.
Okay. And something is coming. And then we pan underground.
And we see the most absolutely insane, like, poor perspective overlay of the master, like, rising up from a bubbling cauldron. But there's a visible gap between where his ankles fade out and like where the bubbles begin. So iconic.
Okay, I absolutely loved this scene because I'm a total scaredy cat and horror scares me, but this is like an absolute joy because it's so campy and it's so obvious, and he is this bald, ugly, kind of hot, kind of cute hot man who's like levitating out of this like bubbling cauldron of blood, being like, I'm the master, I'm going to harvest young souls. And it's not scary. It's hilarious and beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. And also, I just wanted to point out that when Xander hears Buffy's tale in the library, he goes, "What?" in a very Tim Robinson type of way. So I thought that acting was really good.
The vampire who has reawoken the master says the sleeper will wake and the world will bleed.
Yes, he does chant the sleeper will wake. And I liked this because it was also kind of a broad reference to like how vampires are made, which Buffy also explained, where in this show, in this lore, it's probably different in other vampire lore slightly maybe, where vampires are made and sired. My producer is giggling. Okay, good. I have to explain the lore. I have to explain how vampires are made so I can reference it later. Because I'm thinking that the sleeper shall rise is like literally vampires die and then they rise. And I thought it was like very poetic because it's kind of referencing all vampires within the master. And I liked that connection because he is like intending to be the king of all vampires.
Yeah, he's pater familias.
Want to note here that we made another quick mistake. The master actually doesn't wake up at this point. He's rising later. So this is just showing the underground.
Okay, good. Well, we can cut it.
Cut it a little bit.
Ava, you got your work cut out for you.
Cut out for you.
So now Buffy is off to the Bronze, and Joyce is giving her a little pep talk. She has her positive energy flowing, and she's being a good, comforting mom. Buffy's working on outfits, and then once she's leaving for the Bronze, I was like, this is the outfit you're settling on. She's in like a full business casual fit with a blue button up for some reason.
It's very like what the fuck is her name? Like Chani in The Parent Trap. What's her name?
Who's Johnny? Oh, the gardener, the dad's gardener.
Yeah, the dad's crush. She looks like her.
Okay, yeah, I mean, she does look amazing.
Did they get together in the end? I'm sorry, I called her just a gardener, but maybe
Yeah,
she's
they
the
get
new
together.
stepmom.
No, they get together in the end.
Okay.
Also, I wrote in the margins during the part where the master is rising, I wrote, taking a bath is so healing.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Okay,
It is. It brought someone back from the dead.
it's kind of giving Voldemort. Okay, then someone is following Buffy.
Oh, someone.
Someone. Who could
I have
that
a lot
be?
to say about this. I have a lot.
Gab, who is it? Who is it?
God, who is it?
So Buffy ends up in an alley. She's like suspended upside down, holding herself.
Side note, how did she end up in an
on a
alley
pole.
already?
There are a bunch of alleys around
This town is
Sunnydale.
mostly
Sunnydale's
alleys.
half alley.
Half alley.
And she drops in kicking who?
Who?
Who is it?
It's Angel.
It's a hunk.
Freaking Angel.
It's a mysterious hunk
a
who,
mystery
quote,
hunk.
doesn't bite.
Yeah, we don't know his name yet,
No,
importantly.
yeah, we don't know his name yet, but we know that
Angel
man.
is also immediately negging her. He's like, I thought you
Immediately.
would be stronger.
He is not. Okay, that's the caveat at the end. The one exception to my statement earlier, where I said that they like present each character as they are very well. Angel does not become who he is in this episode.
Yeah, Angel in Angel the series and later in Buffy is just so sincere. I think he would meet her with kindness here instead of immediately slightly insulting her.
And they're implied to be like cosmically connected in love, so one would kind of think that he would feel that.
And you're right. And I was like, he's supposed to be wise. He has more information than her in this situation. And he's like, don't you wish you knew what I knew? Don't you like wish you were like me? Like, I'm mysterious and have all the answers, but I'm not going to tell you, and I'm going to be really confusing about it.
But he, I guess, also is kind of in a vulnerable position where he has no idea what she's going to do. Like, they don't trust each other yet. I guess I kind of understand why he has walls up, but he is being kind of an asshole.
I have a note on this, unless you want to go first, Gab.
No, I just have a plot point to
Oh.
move on to.
Oh, okay. I'm not ready to move on. Okay, yeah, in my notes, I kind of said, obviously Buffy is better than him, just in the dialogue that they have, because he's being annoying and Buffy is kind of winning in the conversation. And I was thinking that obviously Joss, feminist icon that he is, did this on purpose because he wanted kind of this mysterious heartthrob man not to steal the girl boss show where Buffy is the star. And maybe it's kind of cool that he's kind of playing with, okay, a sexy man is introduced, but he maybe won't be the love interest because he's actually being kind of annoying.
He's kind of like nothing.
Yeah, he's
also,
kind of nothing.
his satin suit.
His satin suit. That's incredibly important to know.
Yeah, no, I think we can explain a lot of the show to be Joss being an epic feminist.
Yeah.
Angel says here, you're standing at the mouth of hell and it's about to be open.
Huge hint.
Huge hint.
He mentions the harvest. You have to be ready for the harvest.
Angel was like, what that mouth do?
Exactly.
Okay, and then we're in the Bronze.
Okay.
Oh, and I wrote, very obvious that they cast David Boreanaz off his front lawn.
Boreanaz.
Boreanaz.
How do you say his name?
Boreanaz.
Very obvious
It's
that they
giving
cast
Johannesson.
David Boreanaz off his front line.
David Boreanaz.
And crazy that Scarlett Johansson was
Johansson.
It's Johannesson.
Scarlett Charlotte
Johansson.
Johansson.
Charlotte Johansson.
Charlotte Bloblanison.
All right, then we're in the bronze in all its glory.
Wait. I want to say something about the David Boreanaz getting cast off of his front lawn.
I do want to note that we're past an hour.
What?
That's at 34 minutes.
It's 7:08. I mean, I thought we had to go until 7.
Oh, well, we can go until 7:30.
We go until 7:30?
All right.
That's my hard out.
We
We can go
are...
until 7:45. We just have to go to fucking bed. I need a pork
I'm
bun
on...
before I sleep.
Yeah, we're good. I've got
We're
like one
good.
page
We're
left of
perfect.
notes.
Same.
The story that I told my friends about David Boreanaz was that he was mowing his lawn one day in LA, and the casting director for Buffy drove by and said, you're going to play Angel. Like, you're going to play this vampire. And then later I was reading about him and found out that he was in an acting gig before that. So I might have spread a rumor on accident.
No, I feel like I brought this into the house, this rumor, but it is the truth. They cast him mowing his lawn.
Okay.
He must have just also been an actor already.
Maybe they were old
yeah.
school on their way to meet him.
Maybe they didn't know. Yeah.
I think he was just so hot.
He's so hot. That's the ultimate moral of the story.
And he is. And he's looking really hot here.
Even in his little Nosferatu type outfit.
Yeah.
Also, I want to point out that it's true that humans do age, and since this actor is a human who's playing a vampire, it's really funny to see Angel with a little bit of a baby face, even though he is supposed to be immortal and 150 years old.
Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. So now we're in the bronze.
Go ahead.
I wrote, it looks so awesome. I want to be there so bad. Mm-hmm. As always.
And we always felt that way. We see our first bronze band playing.
Yeah, I meant to research who this band was.
I did.
Yeah.
It's Sprung Monkey.
Thank you.
Is the
did so much
first
good
band.
research.
And they were apparently made famous because they were featured in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, love.
This, I think, is also from Wikipedia, so IDK.
I
But
trust
yes,
Wikipedia.
Sprung Monkey is the first band.
That's really erotic.
Buffy finds Willow, who is alone at the bronze.
And gives her an iconic, again, feminist pep talk where she's like, literally do whatever you want.
She said YOLO.
She said YOLO.
She was so ahead of her time.
I thought it was beautiful that Willow was alone at the bronze, and
Okay.
they keep saying that Willow is a loser, but like everything that she's doing just screams like best friend, like amazing
And brave.
person to be around, because she's just at the bar alone, like having a great time by herself.
Eating
That's
pistachios.
like not a loser thing to do. That's like
She's so
Really
cool.
good. Cool
She's
girl
speaking candidly about her dating life and her insecurities. Very brave to this girl she just met. And immediately taking Buffy's advice, which we will get to.
And Willow repeatedly is like, I don't know why I don't like dating men. I just can't
know.
talk to men. When I go on dates with men, it's really awkward and weird. So that's a slay.
I wonder if Joss knew what he was
probably did.
doing. I have in my notes Giles at the club.
Giles at the club.
Giles?
I have something to say about fucking Giles at the club.
Okay.
Which is that he says, I would rather be at home with a cup of Bovril and a good book.
Yeah,
Like-
what is Bovril?
Okay, so I
Can you
did
fill us in?
research.
King with the research.
It's meat extract paste.
That's disgusting. I mean,
What?
cut
Yeah.
that out.
Cut that out.
Okay, so
That's
Giles,
beautiful.
when confronted by Buffy, like, why are you at the club, says, I'd rather be at home with a cup of Bovril and a good book. And Bovril is, bravely, meat extract paste.
And we're certain he said
And,
Bovril.
well, I did read the captions, the subtitles.
Wow.
Is meat extract paste fat?
No, it's kind of like a stock cube or like bouillon or something.
Oh,
It's like
okay, so
beef
like a-
bouillon. And I was like, a cup? But apparently it's really common to drink it as like broth in the UK. Its country of origin is the United Kingdom via Atlas Obscura, Gastro Obscura website. And so it's like drinking a hearty cup of soup.
Giles is so Gwyneth Paltrow the way he be drinking bone broth.
Which is apparently also a very Victorian idea of like health and fortitude is to like, apparently there was some sort of,
It's giving yellow bile.
it literally is. There was like a crazy British push, this like cultural movement in England specifically to
British
like,
push, a cultural movement.
drink bone broth. So Gwyneth Paltrow
And it's working.
is kind of late.
I do have bone broth in the cabinet.
Nice.
Low cholesterol.
As a vegetarian.
As a vegetarian, Gabby
As a
does enjoy a
vegetarian.
good cup of Bovril.
Anyway, so King is eating like bouillon
At home,
regularly.
in private. In the future, we do see that Giles likes to drink bourbon.
And
Okay.
tea, of
And
course.
tea.
That goes without saying.
So I do have, after Buffy kind of gives her beautiful speech to Willow in where she basically says, YOLO, do whatever you want because, you know, you could be dead tomorrow. Then she kind of like YOLOs her way up to meeting this like strange man who just started as a librarian and has been following her around so much that he followed her to the club. And she just kind of says, hey, what are you doing here? And they're standing very close to each other as they sort of survey the audience for possible vampires.
And Giles is even being skeptical and like trying to mentor her a little bit and being like, silly lass, you don't know what you're doing. You haven't had enough Bovril to make your mind strong. You haven't had enough collagen.
And by collagen and Bovril, he means punching and kicking of the vamps.
Buffy tells Giles what Angel said. Looks like you have more on this than I do, Dev.
Giles is concerned.
Buffy said dark gorgeous in an annoying sort of way and said that the harvest is
Oh,
coming.
yeah. Okay, so Buffy is telling Giles about her encounter. I said I had one.
Redacted. Okay. Go.
Reading my notes.
Sorry.
Respectfully eavesdropping. Okay, yeah, so Buffy is kind of explaining to Giles that she ran into Angel in the street and that he gave her a very mysterious warning. Buffy describes Angel as dark, gorgeous, in an annoying sort of way. And that really sums up our thoughts too. She also reports that Angel said the harvest is coming, which we know is somehow related to that thick-voiced vampire who was saying the sleeper shall rise or whatever.
With the like extremely drained necklace.
Yeah,
wearing,
he's
like,
kind
a
of looking
spiky
really drained.
Chain link.
And she is assuming that this is Giles's friend.
Right.
But Giles
Yeah,
does not know who
they
she's
think they're in
talking about.
cahoots.
Right.
So even more mysterious. We're like, who is that?
Yes, absolutely. So he is a mysterious hunk, who kind of says, "There's."
He is a home.
He is a kind of a hunk in his full satin suit. But we do learn from Angel, and Buffy tells Giles that there is a mouth of hell that will soon open. We pan down to what's kind of happening in the audience at the Bronze. Jesse, who we haven't really talked about yet, he is friends with Xander and
just
Willow.
some dude.
Just some dude. But he is talking to Cordy. He seems to have a little crush on Cordy, but she does not like him because
like,
he's a
who
nerd.
doesn't?
Yeah, I wrote down their dialogue here. He says, you look great. And she says, well, I'm glad we had that little chat.
LOL.
Which I really liked.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
And then pan back up. Giles is explaining Slayer sense to Buffy. And Buffy instead turns to her expert fashion detection and spots a vampire immediately with Willow. He's
With
leading
Willow,
her
he's dancing with
outside.
Willow.
He's like, yeah, getting real cozy with
Yeah.
our girl.
Willow is seizing the day. She's YOLOing as discussed.
I think she's also bravely wearing the same outfit she wore to school, which is really hot.
Love.
Our heroines are sort of facing peril at the Bronze. We are seeing peril bubbling up from beneath in the Hellmouth.
Say that.
Because this is when the master sort of rises out of his
He's rising.
hot tub.
So can we use this time to cut back to our previous statements on this, because I think we said good stuff about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We can
so
just
he
piece that
has
in.
risen.
So he has risen.
He has
Oh,
risen.
he has risen.
And evil is
I'm moved.
evil is spawning, evil is spreading, and bad will is sort of permeating the fabric of Sunnydale at this point.
It's literally such a good moment for the show because it's like a pivotal thing. Like there is real evil upon us and we know like there is something now to fight. And meanwhile, like our heroine is rejecting her duties to fight this very real evil that is bubbling up.
But now her best friend is getting attacked. Well, I guess they're not both.
But now her best friend. Back to the best friend, Willow.
Yes. Oh, also at this point, the master is weak. He needs his strength. He needs a snack.
And he said, what did he say? He said, bring me something young.
Young. And you know who's young?
Fucking
Nubile young Willow.
So Buffy snaps off a piece of wood and follows Willow and the vampire. And then we see Jessie, who's chatting with our vampire girl from start of episode.
Darla. She's back.
And she's being kind of like her same like cutesy, mysterious, sinister self.
Yeah, Jessie's kind of scoring here. She's super hot.
She's so hot. And she does like play a little ditzy. Problematic that men are into that.
And Willow is following this man through the graveyard. She thinks they're going to an ice cream bar and knows that he's taking the wrong way and is getting scared.
That's so us going to the ice cream
It's
bar.
so us. So we do go to ice cream bar, right?
We do go to like the ice cream bar.
Yeah, say
what
her
it's called.
name. Yeah, and they call the people who work there jerks, and there's a jerk there who looks like Glaive. Hyperpop legend.
Shout out
Glaive.
Hyperplop.
Hyperplop.
Shout out
Hyperplop.
Shout out Hyperplop legend Glaive.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Friend of the pod.
So Buffy's concerned. Buffy obviously has some deep care for this girl. She can tell that something bad is going on.
It's so fucking cute to me how Buffy is like this hot girl who has this like clearly deep, friendly, caring soul, and Willow who is this like deeply earnest, down-to-earth person. Like how they connect is just like so important to me and really emotional and like one of the best on-screen friendships.
They're so cute.
You
They're
love
really cute.
their relationship. Which relationship do you cherish more? Your relationship with me or with Gabby?
Well, there's a reason I'm in the middle.
We'll get into that on episode 2.
Yeah.
Episode
Stay
2, I'll rank
tuned.
my best friends.
1 and
For
2.
a fist fight. And
First
then there's
and
a
last.
fist fight.
First and last, it will be over.
So Buffy recruits Xander to go find them.
Which, like, already Buffy is enlisting the help of Xander.
Scooby Gang is
Scooby Gang is forming.
right in
And
front of
it's
our
like,
eyes.
How could they ever have thought that Buffy would keep this a secret? Like, these friends needed to be together.
And I'm glad this is happening immediately. Also, They're-
Agree.
You know,
No lonesome Buffy ever.
yes. Not till later.
So they get to a crypt. What are those things called? A crypt. Yeah.
Exactly,
The-
like
maybe-
Spike's crypt.
Yeah, the very one even
Is
that
it?
Spike might. I don't know. This is a theory. This is a fan
That's
theory.
a theory.
We'll have to take
That's a
another
good
look.
theory.
We'll have to take another look.
It's on record.
And it becomes obvious that the vampires aren't necessarily trying to eat and kill, but they're trying to like recruit the master's little treat. They're trying to be little treats for the master.
Right. They're bringing them to their
So
master.
that's why Buffy was sort of able to intervene because they weren't like killing them on the spot.
Really good point. Also, I don't actually. We have, and I'm about to give a spoiler. We haven't seen it yet.
That's okay.
But I'm wondering too if they're recruiting sort of an army of vamps because I know in the future they turn a few people.
True.
But we haven't gotten there yet.
So true, bestie.
I think for now these are their little snacks.
These are the little snacks. They are bringing a young Willow to the master.
Who would be an excellent snack?
They would be an excellent snack.
Which one of us do you think would be the best snack, Anna Maria, me or Gabby?
Mosquitoes love me.
Mosquitoes love
Then
me
probably.
too.
Oh,
Probably not as much as me.
Okay, you're probably right. my highest body count of mosquito bites is 75 at one time. What's
That's insane. I haven't counted on my body, but one time I had 11 on my face alone.
Oh, that's the really big record, actually.
It was just horrible because it was on my face.
That's really terrible.
I don't think I've had
Probably
75.
I honestly don't think either of you would be a good snack because aren't you both anemic?
Oh,
Yeah.
They don't want
not
you.
me anymore. I take iron every day.
Okay, then Jevin would be the better snack.
Coming out as previously anemic.
Disclosing medical history on the pod.
They don't want my cholesterol.
Yeah, they don't want your. They're like,
Wait,
I'll
maybe
pass.
it's extra yummy to them, though.
It's like kind of fatty.
yeah,
It's like
yum,
red
yum,
meat.
yum.
Yeah.
They're like
I'm
the
gonna take pride
marbling in
that.
this one is slay.
Yeah. Okay, wait. Back on track.
Okay, so
To
at the
pull us back
last
to the
minute,
story.
not Gabby.
No, wait.
Freudian sloop.
Freudian
Who are you going to say, Buffy?
Yeah.
Freudian poop. Okay, can I say something before we get to what I
Sure.
know you're about to say?
Sure.
So we see them kind of throw Willow into the crypt because she's the snack. They also have Jesse. So they also throw Jesse in, and he has been walking home from the bronze with Darla because let us not forget they were chatting it up. And he falls down and he said, I think you gave me a hickey to Darla.
And they lost such an opportunity to do a joke, which they make, I'm pretty sure, multiple times in the rest of the franchise. He was like kind of stumbling and out of it and delirious because he had lost clearly a lot of blood from Darla having a snack. And they should have been like, oh, ignore him. He's half drunk.
Yeah.
But they didn't
make that. They have
Not in this episode.
Later on.
Yeah. Not in this episode, but later on.
Anyway,
They're building up to it.
Anyway, I just wanted to share that I did think of that, and I am going to pen a note to Mr. Whedon
and we have it on
correct him.
record.
And Buffy bursts in at literally the last second.
They have just gone into vamp face when Buffy bursts in. She stakes the first guy.
She's
right
immediately
away.
sarcastic.
Immediately doing the jokes, which is like going to be a forever theme. She says to everyone in the crypt, you know, all the vamps, and says like, don't you know who I am?
And they're like,
Being like, I'm
sorry,
the Slayer.
no.
And they're like, no, we don't know you. She's like, don't you know who I am? And I'm like, damn, Buffy really is from LA. It's like,
For the record, we don't know anyone who lives in LA.
we don't know anyone who
Yeah,
lives
we
there?
don't know.
We
anyone.
don't know.
Oh, we don't know
in
anyone.
LA. That's true.
We don't know anyone. If someone came from LA and was like, I'm
Don't you
from
know
LA
who-
and I'm about
Like,
to
where
stake
is
you,
that?
I'd be like, I'm really sorry. I don't know that.
I don't know that
who
place.
you are.
Yeah, I wrote she stakes the first guy, fights Darla with copious monologuing.
Copious
always.
monologuing. And unfortunately, she kind of gets her ass beat.
She does.
Well, especially when the other vamp shows up.
Because
The
then
other one. Now,
the one Devin's been calling syrupy or something. What have you been calling him? Thick.
The thick vamp shows
syrupy.
up.
He does have a syrupy voice. Like he has a thick voice. Like his voice is so deep. His name is Luke.
He kind of
Luke.
looks like
He kind of looks like
what's his name? Buffy's future boyfriend.
Riley.
Yeah, trigger warning. He looks like
Trigger
Riley.
warning.
Yeah.
Riley is gonna be.
Oh my god, the
coming up.
police are hella fucking in Buffy. I forgot about Riley's.
I mean, that's the military,
that's the
but the police are in it
military.
too.
I guess that's the same thing to me.
No, you're right. It is the same thing. I guess I was thinking of it as like kind of a fake military because they were also like.
Evil.
It's just like so campy that I'm like, oh, you little military.
I feel like
what
the military
hell
is that camp. They're like, button up, boys.
Yeah, I mean, they are.
They're like, get on the ground, maggots.
Yeah.
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 They're like, yeah, it's like horseshoe theory. They're like the.
Okay.
I actually don't want to start sounding like.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a. I feel like that's a red.
So Darla runs off now that Big Syrupy is here to handle it.
Big syrupy.
And he's clearly like got Buffy out of her range. Like he is really scary. But luckily he tells Darla to scram. He's like, get back to the master. I got this.
Yeah.
And then I think Willow and Jesse also take that opportunity to just like absolutely run away. Although I'm not sure we see any resolution.
They run away and they encounter several vampires on their way out.
In the cemetery.
Or stopped.
Yeah. So that
Hell.
leaves Buffy to fight Luke. And I do have in my notes, holy shit, that stunt double took a hit when Buffy was thrown. Because she got thrown.
She got thrown
onto
multiple
this like
times.
wall of stone. And they just kept that shot in. And someone definitely got hurt.
Maybe it was made of foam.
Maybe it didn't even budge though. You know what? Maybe their movie magic just really worked on me.
Maybe movie magic
I don't know how
works.
much movie magic
Someone
they
in
use,
Hollywood
but
get
That's
back
what
to
I'm
us on
saying.
that.
I'm like, they probably are using real stone.
I mean, that set is so good.
That was so good. It was like incredibly believable. So-
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so believable that to be inside of a crypt. Also, I don't remember the context. Well, this is happening throughout the whole episode, but I wrote that there's definitely a lot more like sort of canonical Christian hell description in this early part of the show. Like when they describe vampires, we haven't seen any like weird alien demons or like goofy girl talk, Anya's BFF demon. It's like,
Yeah.
from time immemorial, these hell creatures have like plagued our godly soils. And it's very different.
Yeah, it's not like a hell dimension. It's like hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very Christian.
And the only mention we get of like other creatures is when Giles is kind of briefing Buffy on the hell that is Sunnydale and says, you know, we've got zombies, werewolves, incubi, succubi.
Incubi and succubi in that list was funny to me for some reason.
You gotta have
I don't think we
both.
even encounter either.
I don't even know what that is.
Anya,
honestly.
arguably succubi.
Oh, is it kind of like a fungus that sucks? Like
A fungus?
Kind of like, well, maybe not a fungus, but you know, like fungus like will attach. So it's like a parasite.
Yeah, we'll do some research.
Okay.
We'll do a little
We'll do
research.
research.
I'm
Get
writing
back
it
to
down.
Well, we will have to start categorizing our demons. We will kind of have to start expanding our demon
I have a
knowledge.
goddamn fucking dictionary.
We'll have to do some research at the library.
On Angel, not to do spoilers. This is not a spoiler, but on Angel, Cordelia does start using a online demon database where she kind of just like
It's like Hinge.
it's like Hinge. She kind of just types in characteristics of demons that she's seen, and then they'll come up online.
When you first said Cordelia started using, I was like, they, them pronoun.
That's like the only time when using.
Oh my god, yeah, Cordelia, like non-binary icon.
Cordelia would not. I'm sorry, but she's not that together. How does Buffy escape?
She doesn't.
Fuck.
To be continued.
What's gonna happen?
Okay, so she kind of gets like a little bit beat by Luke, which would never happen later in the show. So it's hard to watch. He does trap her in a tomb. He throws her down next to a rotten skeleton with rotten blood, and almost eats her. So he's kind of leaning in to sort of like rip her neck or whatever they do. As the screen it does kind of a stop screen, and a to be continued sign pops up.
Well, what do you think is gonna happen? Do you think our heroine will survive?
I think she's probably dying. I don't know how she'll get out of this one.
Yeah, it's been like 40 minutes of the show. She must be dead.
I'm also, well, if this is right, we have to cut this.
We have seen the whole show.
I also feel like there's a chance that Angel will swoop in at the last minute and sort of save the day.
I fully
I don't
do
even
not remember how
remember.
she gets out of this one.
I don't remember how she gets out of this one, and so I think that's a really good
My
guess.
record guess is that Angel was watching and is going to intervene.
Someone must. I mean, I don't know.
Crazy that Angel was watching and not her literal watcher.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a rating out of 5 for this episode? Out of 5 stakes, perhaps?
5 stakes. 5 out of 5
This
stakes.
is a high
for me.
stakes episode.
I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stakes, to be honest, because I want to save my 5s for my faves.
I think that this is one of my faves, actually, because this was when I fell in love with the show. Like, it's kind of like honeymoon phase. It's kind of like meeting a crush.
Yeah.
It's like meeting someone and being like, oh, you are so beautiful and I'm so into you. And it's like pure.
It's like love at first sight.
It's like love at first sight.
And it was love at
It's
first
love
sight
at first
for me as well.
succubi.
But I think, my first episode I ever watched of this show was Tuning In With You at like season 3 or something.
Yeah, it's true.
So it hits a little different for me.
It does hit different. So yeah, I give it 5 stakes out of 5 stakes.
I also give it 5 out of 5 stakes for simplicity. Like a lot happens, but it's not overwrought. Some of the Buffy episodes that I'm really sorry, but I do find super boring and stupid are some of the like middle season ones where we're just seeing like an attack and then another demon and then a twist and then a betrayal and then a breakup. Like it just gets like too much. So this one I thought was really good. And also, I don't remember if I already said this, but at the beginning, Dev was saying that we see like Buffy being really true to the character that we will see Buffy become. And I was really noticing that she spends the entire first episode protecting Willow specifically. Yeah. And she always is doing this for her loved ones. So we kind of see like her inner turmoil over wanting to be normal, but also like understanding her responsibility. And then it's really sort of slammed home when she sees Willow, someone who we know she's already developing like an important bond and a love with, being imperiled. And she has to come to terms with the fact that she can't to feel like a normal person and to have the parts of her life that she wants, like connection and fun and friendship and human joy, she has to face up to her responsibilities to keep the people she loves safe.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, and when she grows to love Sunnydale in general, she just has to step up.
Yeah, that's her home now. So
I think upon rewatch, you're hitting on a lot of what I felt too. Like upon rewatch, the themes in the and knowing and experiencing the themes throughout the whole show, they're so beautifully captured in the pilot that I think it's a really good piece of art and like a really beautiful expression of the push and pull again of like the dark side of growing up and the demons that like young people face growing up and like the literal demons that like these young people are facing while they like try and live their lives and like become full people and like learn who they are. And I think that that's one of my favorite themes in the show is kind of self-discovery and loyalty, like you're saying, and just like proving and showing love to your friends and making sacrifices and being brave. And it's like all captured in this episode. And it makes you like really, really, really excited to see how the characters will like explore those themes in the future and explore their love.
That's so gorge. Well, I'm really proud of us for chatting through this first episode. We really left it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, we really did.
And getting through almost a whole podcast episode without Zuri incessantly meowing is really impressive.
Zuri, do you have anything to say?
No, wow.
Wow, weird.
Zuri said
she's stunned into silence.
Tears. Yeah, I guess we're just gonna go like record an intro now.
Yeah.
So should we record our outro?